So did you hear about the Unity thing?
The Unity thing?
Yeah, the Unity, like the game engine thing,
No,
Unity thing.
I did not.
So apparently Unity
I've heard of them.
decided to update their monetization strategy where they would charge past a certain threshold. They would charge any company using the game or individual using the game engine 20 cents per download. Per download,
Per
right?
asset download?
No, like, so if somebody downloads their game that they have up, even if
Yeah.
let's say it's a wildly popular free game,
Mm-hmm.
they would be charged 20 cents per each individual download. Meaning, if someone uninstalled the game and reinstalled it, that's 20 cents.
Oh my god.
If you are a wildly popular free game and have millions of downloads, you now owe Unity a couple $1 million probably, right?
So like a Honkai Star Rail or something along those lines?
Which Honkai Star Rail, and I'm not saying that they haven't made like a crap ton of money, but yes,
A
Genshin Impact,
veritable ass
Honkai
load?
Star Rail, those are on Unity. Yeah, you remember that little like crab game, like crab shooter game that came out? You're literally a crab.
Yeah. Yep.
That's I'm pretty sure that's a completely free game, and that got like billions of downloads, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy now will owe Unity an insane amount of money for
So this
something
isn't
he didn't
necessarily
make money off of.
Yeah, this isn't necessarily awful for the mega studios, but the indie developers
Yeah.
that are releasing their games through
I mean,
Unity
even still
engine.
for them, I mean, it's kind of shysty to change it. Like at this point, it's kind of like,
Well, yeah, you've already now you can. I feel like you can get into a situation
make
where
yourself like literally just do the flat, however something like Unreal handles it. I'm sure they do. You either pay for the software or you get like, a flat 10% or
right,
20% or something like that.
because if you have an
Whatever.
indie developer who's releasing a free to play game, that's not guaranteed to garner.
Especially like Unity's always like it's always been, I guess, the free sort of like indie option. I guess there apparently are some pretty big games that are made under it.
There's a lot of developers that are using Unity. I see
Yeah.
them on Twitter all the time showing, "Oh, this is what we just uncovered. Now you can do this function in this indie game." And it's like there's like 2 people working on this.
Yeah.
There's no way. So they're taxing the shit out of that basically.
Yeah, which is just crazy. And apparently after they doubled down recently, like today said that they reconvened to make it so it isn't upon like every like re-download. Because that's just insane to charge
That's
somebody.
really
Like,
stupid.
Yeah, like if I buy a game, I don't think anybody should be charged 20 cents for me to re-download. But apparently the new CEO of Unity is the guy from EA that...
Oh, wonderful. I bet he's bringing some really, really productive practices to the table.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's the guy that said a long time ago, brought up the idea of charging people like $1 to reload their weapon and shit, and conditioning people to, pay.
We're not talking about Andrew Wilson, are we?
It might be. I don't remember.
The actual human robot, Andrew Wilson?
Probably so, yeah.
You've seen him at like an E3 press conference, and that man has no soul. I don't know what's behind those eyes, but they're dead.
Money.
It's money. It's just money keeping him alive. He's directly connected to the funnel.
Yeah, I probably should have looked it up, but I of course did read, but I was just like, another rich dirtbag.
Well, it says John Riccitiello, so whether it's him or Andrew Wilson, they're probably both soulless cowards. So that's a bummer.
Bobby Kotick.
Bobby Kotick is actually Satan himself. So
yeah,
Kotick, whatever.
Kotick.
Bobby Kotick. Um, in other equally annoying news, Square Enix reported a. First of all, welcome to the Nerding Grounds podcast. My name's Quinn. This is Matt. This is a podcast about video games, and
We
we
forgot
talk
what we
about
were
them.
doing for a second there.
We were fired up today. It's okay.
Yeah.
This is just gonna. I'm just gonna have to figure out.
Drama!
I'm gonna figure out how to audio sync later, but we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Anyway, Square Enix reported a huge annual loss post Final Fantasy 16 release. And I can't remember the actual number. 2 billion.
Wow.
And the phrase, and I don't know, I can't remember if this was said by, I doubt this was said by a Square Enix employee, but it was definitely said by news outlets, unsure of whether they'll be able to recover that loss.
Well, I mean,
And
maybe they shouldn't sell off all their other assets to try to bank on crypto currency.
right?
And
Like their entire North American studio
yeah,
portfolio.
just
Yeah.
make poor financial decisions.
I mean, like they've been failing, and it doesn't make sense because while they've released a slew of crap over the past couple of years,
Right.
there have been some really quality big releases, and I know that the metrics for looking at that have just been, it's like public reception, or like I would say review reception has been positive, like in Guardians of the Galaxy. That was a really well received game, didn't sell very well, and they reported a huge loss. But it's like, if people had consistency with those types of releases, I think that would change. I don't
Yeah.
think anybody expected that game to be amazing or great. And then Avengers was absolute crap. So it's just, I don't know what they're
And
doing,
was
but
it the Guardians of the Galaxy game? What did it? I think it sold well, but it didn't meet their
yeah, they're arbitrary.
expectations or whatever. Yeah.
And their expectations have to be crazy right now because they want to make FU money. Like they want to make the money from the microtransaction stuff
Yeah.
instead of making really good games that people enjoy and will continue supporting a
They
studio over.
consistently are making just weird decisions, though. Yeah, that just don't
Mhm.
work, and nobody wants, and making games that nobody wants either.
Yeah.
Along with like I guess the good stuff, but I don't know. I really feel like they need to learn to stick to their roots. And
Honestly, if you kill one of my favorite franchises of all time, I'm going to come for you.
yeah, really. And I 100% blame the CEOs of that company.
It's ridiculous.
And
And
they've obviously been like turning through constantly. I mean, they just got a new guy within the past couple of years, and I
yeah.
don't know. He looks younger than us, for one. I think he's actually older. It might be all a bunch of plastic surgery, but
Well, I've heard online that we look like we're not a day over 21, so
hey, thanks.
that was our moms said that.
Ah, thanks, Miss Laney.
um yeah, and I look at the most recent Square Enix release that I played, which was Final Fantasy 16, and I really enjoy that game. I enjoy a lot about it. Um I have some hangups with the way they pad it out around every major event. Like I almost wish that game was just more linear, which I never expected to say because it really does feel like padded out in the wrong places. But it's still good, and they reported a loss or not meeting the sales
Their
figures that they
ex,
were
yeah,
expecting.
which is crazy. I think they were comparing it to Final Fantasy 15, right? That was on Xbox and
Yeah,
a bunch of other stuff at launch. So it's like, yeah, I mean, of course, it's going to have less sales because, well, even if it wasn't, so many more people had a PlayStation 4 at that point in
I was
time.
just about to say that. It was at a time where it was on a
Yeah.
system that was in everyone's house.
Yeah, not everybody has a PlayStation 5, and we're talking about it's only been for the past year or so that it's actually been feasible to find one, to buy
Right,
one,
right.
right?
I was
So
shocked. I walked into a GameStop the other day and I was like, "Holy shit, y'all have PlayStation 5s here? That's weird."
yeah, yeah.
Like, it was
Like now it's
surprising.
not a problem, but it's like
Yeah.
how do you forget that? How do you not account for that in your projections? It makes
It's
no sense.
it's
I mean,
just short-sightedness. I don't
yeah, but it's stupid. Like you hold a you're in charge of a company, right, that has been around for 30 years, 40 years, however long they've been around.
if
Uh
you count Squaresoft,
Host
yeah.
to a beloved franchise worth however much money they're worth. I don't really know. I can't even speculate on that. But a lot of freaking money, right? How do you not how do you have short sightedness on stuff like that?
And you
I don't
have
understand.
one of the most successful MMOs in history.
And maybe
Why
people are starting to kind of feel like I feel like all that like negativity towards like their own sales. I know. It's kind of like
smell it?
I can taste it, you know?
It's
It's
palpable
palpable.
negativity.
Yeah. Ugh. It tastes worse than this coffee. No, actually, I love the taste of coffee. I
Even shitty coffee.
thanks. I completely lost track of what I was trying to say, but I'm it. I feel like that makes the consumer kind of more negative about your product,
Oh,
right?
and that's been happening. Like I said, this has been a downward trend because Square Enix has been, if they haven't been, laying off totally viable companies, they've been bitching and moaning about not being as successful as Epic or
While
something.
just continuously doubling down on um the wrong things. People that maybe it works for other companies, but that's what they're built off of, right? Like
Yeah, maybe
uh
not NFTs, and all that
oh,
crap and trying
yeah,
to sell that.
garbage.
That's just not you, Square Enix. All right. Well, that is
Shouldn't
our
be anybody, but it's definitely
no,
not them.
it shouldn't be anybody. That is our rant and review corner, news, what have you. Every now and then we bring the news every now and again if it tickles us in just the right way. Um, but today we are here to talk about some new release games because we had their Starfield release. Well, depending on who you are and your status in this world of Bethesda, you got to play it either a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Yay! I
Yeah,
love arbitrary exclusivity. Yeah, so if you bought the super expensive edition or you signed up for Game Pass and paid like $30 extra to upgrade to the super expansive edition, but that would mean that you don't actually own the base edition. So if you
yeah, you
stopped
just
Game
own the
Pass,
yeah,
you would
yeah,
just have you'd have a collector's upgrade and not a game. Don't love that.
yeah.
Um, so really, it was basically just you want to play a week early, pay $30, and a lot of people did that. We did not. I did not want to do that. Um, I played it this week when it
Right,
released.
released. Yeah,
Quick, one word to describe Starfield, not Starhole. Go.
garbage. Not garbage. It's not garbage. It's an okay game.
I was gonna say it's fine,
Yeah,
just
fine.
like that with that
Yeah,
cadence and everything. It's fine.
yeah. Inflection is that what- yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's like that's it. Episode's over. It's fine.
Episode's over. I mean, I have a lot for something that's fine. I have a lot to say about it, and I think it's because when you have these monumental releases from big companies, it garners conversation and stuff, and everybody was flipping out over it, and everybody's on the internet arguing about it as they are wont to do. So let's just talk about how we feel about it.
There's anger swelling up inside of me right now. And it's not because it's because it is fine. Because it's Bethesda, right? And because this is their first IP in tell me the years.
10 years.
Yeah, but like
That's what
no, but like
Mr.
IP. That's like
That's what
their
Mr. Todd Howard said. He said it's been 10 years since they've had a new world. So IP, I guess,
it's
the
definitely
last.
been longer than 10 years though, right?
Yeah,
But I
because
mean
Fallout was owned
that
by a different company.
I think he got a little confused. Um 10 years was the last time they released a game, right?
Well, no, they had 76.
That doesn't count.
Remember Fallout 76?
No, that doesn't count. That's garbage.
I think what he was saying was the last time we've launched a new universe, which Fallout was a reboot, but it was technically their own creation. So I think he's counting Fallout as like the last time they made some big thing.
I don't know.
You explored
Whatever.
fantasy, you explored radiated apocalypse, and now you can explore menus with space backgrounds.
Yeah, minis with space backgrounds and loading screens. Don't forget about the loading screens. There's lots of those, right? Like every time you try to do anything in space, I'm just gonna start with like the things that I really, really like, dislike. Um, Bethesda have never been good with UI, right? It's always just been bare bones, clunky mess. This
Skyrim,
though is like, come on, why?
I hate it.
Why there is no UI to speak of, right? There's no HUD when there really kind of could be. I mean,
Yeah.
if we, I, you know, like I'm going to compare the shit out of this to other games. When we look at something like No Man's Sky from the start, had a simple concept of like when I'm in space and there's a planet over here, it's a little icon on my screen. It's not intrusive whatsoever, right? It's not immersive breaking at all. It's just a
No.
little icon that shows me which direction I can go to get to another planet, right?
And that actually exists. Like it
Yeah,
that icon is representative of a direction that physically
yeah.
exists in that space.
Well,
And
this isn't the case. I mean, because you can't actually go from just straight flying from anywhere, basically,
did
right?
real quick to interject, did you see the video? I don't know if you follow Alana Pierce on YouTube, but she works for Sony Santa Monica. She worked on like as a writer, and
Right,
she also does YouTube and stuff. She actually did a trip from in our solar system to Pluto to see if you could physically fly to Pluto
right.
if you didn't fast travel, and she had to set it and like go to sleep and set reminders and timers to wake up and check and reorient the direction to the
Yeah,
planet. And after 7 hours, she got there, and
it actually lets you get
she
there.
clipped through a JPEG of
Really?
Pluto.
Oh, right. Yeah. So she got there, but it was just
It didn't
a
exist.
background. Yeah, it didn't exist. Of
You
course.
could fast travel to it, you can land on it, but she
Right.
kept going toward the surface, and boom, she was like past it. And it
Yeah.
was just like, oh,
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it literally just
that's what's going on. Which,
but so well, that's just so weird though. Like, why even have that much? So once you load in to a singular planet, right? There is a near infinite amount of empty fucking space, and that's all that is for
it's
every
just,
single planet. Why?
I,
Why?
I called it here in my notes. I said, exploration feels like a hollow experience. Planets are a resource and looting playground without any real uniqueness.
They're hollow. Yeah.
It's an open expanse, and there will be any number of caves, abandoned research facilities,
Yeah.
and caves, and maybe maybe a ship.
Forgot about your space rocks and your mounds.
Yeah, and I'm not even. I'll be the first to say when I did those things, I was engaged. I was like, okay, this is cool. I go into a cave. I'm researching. I'm gathering materials. I'm looking at like these animals running around, and I'm recording them and getting their meat and stuff. I'm going over here, getting a bunch of cool weapons, going back to my ship. And then I remember that when I go back to my ship, I don't get to like take off. I have to go and I texted like, okay, so either I can just go into my menu right there and go anywhere else I want to go based on a quest marker.
Yeah.
I can just go search a quest marker and go there. Or I can just press lift off into space. And then
Right.
you go into a loading screen and you're in space. And now, but that space is not like now fly around space to get somewhere else. It is,
Yeah.
this is basically a hub where you can fly a ship and use your ship and possibly run into encounters, possibly run into mini quests,
Maybe.
whatever.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to click on a menu to go somewhere else. And then maybe when you get to that other place, you'll have to go back into the menu because you have to travel a little further.
Yeah.
And then once you get to the system that you need to be in for whatever quest you're doing or for whatever thing you're turning in, you have to then look at the planet that you want to go to. And this is just how I was doing it. So I didn't have to keep pressing effing start because that was driving me crazy.
Yeah.
I started just using my scanner to do it because it felt a little more like I was actually traveling.
Yeah, basically, plus, like, if you have a quest or if you set like a destination, you can hit X towards that quest marker, and then it will give you the option to travel in that direction,
Yep.
right? But you still have to have like a destination set for one. And then why do I have to click, or confirm whatever you have your map your buttons mapped to?
Well,
To
sometimes it's
pop up
confirmed.
an icon to be able to travel somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's confirmed. Sometimes it's not there. So I was the even the
I
fact
also
that you're
feel yeah,
using a series of menus.
yeah.
Those menus don't feel good. They
No,
don't
they're
feel
garbage
responsive.
menus. Yeah,
They,
that's what I
they
said.
don't.
Like they're
They're clunky.
yeah, they're extremely
You
clunky.
can't even make the fast travel.
Why? Just why? Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
the.
if
Yep.
literally for the sheer fact that okay, you drop in. So when you drop into a planet, you drop in above in that little like empty gap of we can call it a HUD, whatever. I call it just an empty piece of shit. Uh, and then hey,
Are you on record with that?
I did say the game's okay, right? Uh,
It's fine. It's fine.
yeah,
It's
it's
fine.
fine. It's fine. And then you have to click on. You have to go back into the goddamn menu, back into the star map, right? It's more like menu, star map. Click on the planet that you just clicked on to fly to, and then click on a landing spot,
Yeah.
right?
No, it's not just.
In a
You can't even
predefined.
go. Like, why can't we go into the atmosphere and then fly around? I was kind of
Yeah,
expecting that. Remember back when we were speculating, and I was like, if you gotta load space, you gotta load space. I didn't know that travel basically didn't exist in this game.
yeah. Let me. It doesn't. I. I just. I don't know.
It was a real hit to enthusiasm. It was like, oh shit, really?
I
And
also
then
wouldn't mind like a planet that doesn't have something on it already too, so I can kind of like make it my own. But that's impossible because you have to have something to land on or near.
Mhm. You do have something to land near, and then, well, you can. Okay, so you can go if you find a planet, you can go into a scan mode, and
Right.
you can go around the whole thing, and you can land wherever you want. It'll create a landing spot.
Oh, does it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, and so and it basically it searches around the planet based on resources, and you
Yeah.
can plop yourself where you want to, and do whatever you want there. But when I really like, I played the other night, and I was like, I'm gonna focus on building. I'm gonna focus on like making a structure, a base, and then my ship. I got to that spot. I found a planet that I was like, okay, this planet's okay. It's livable. I don't have to. It's livable. It has a nice gravity, which that's one of the best things this game does. Is
Yeah.
is that gravity? Sometimes it's a little bit better. Sometimes it's none. I got to one mission where I turned off the gravity, in a place and everybody was just floating around and I'm like going around like killing people in the air and like when you
Yeah.
shoot it sends you backward with the velocity and stuff. That was great. That was cool. Um anyway, I digress. I went to go start setting up my stuff. Of course, after hours of resource mining, I don't have one thing I need, like sealant, to create a building.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I could walk around and try to find sealant, maybe. And then in this quest for resources, I immediately filled up my inventory, which, why the hell does this game make resources weigh anything? Because you're not going to get rid of them. You're not going to sell them. You're going to hoard them like you do in any game like this.
Yeah.
You're going to quickly fill up your ship, which I did. So now my ship is just filled with resources. My person is filled with resources. That sucks.
Well, you gotta choose between having like a fast starfighter type of ship or a space frigate,
That
right?
sucks too.
Yeah.
Or you can keep all your resources on a random base planet somewhere
Yeah,
else.
I was like, why? So you're basically built the game around fast travel and whatnot, but
Yeah.
you're so ridiculously restrictive on weight limits. I'm so far, I literally hate doing anything because I know that the second I pick anything up, I'm going to
Encumbered.
become encumbered.
Mm-hmm.
And that's including with the weightlifting perk, which is like mandatory, right?
Yeah, and then
Because you have no weight at all. Why is
no,
that?
it's like 130
It's like this is the thing you're deciding to
pounds.
be realistic and immersive with? Fucking
Yeah.
weight? Ah!
Um, no,
It's
and you know, this has always existed. This is, this is in Oblivion, this is in Fallout.
yeah,
And it's not that it wasn't annoying in those games, but
right.
it
I don't ever remember it being like that.
didn't feel like it
Uh,
was actively pushing against me enjoying the experience. And in this case, you're right. I don't want to pick up all these guns because I'm full of resources and I don't have space
yeah,
for guns and stuff to. And then when's the next time I'm gonna find, or like when's the next time I'm gonna go back to the spaceport with the trade console that only has 5,000 credits
yep,
and sell, and then boom, I've emptied out that trade console's credits. Now I have to go flying around to find traders in space and sell them my stuff. I'd be fine if that was just equipment, but oh my god, resources have no business weighing anything. That's so stupid. And not
yeah,
to mention going into the menu to micromanage all that shit and not knowing which aid items you need and what you can get rid of because all of these items are needed for research progress and research updates
yeah,
and then eventual crafting.
yep,
What, don't make me do that. That
yeah. I
sucks. That's
know.
not fun.
Or just to organize things a little bit better, or I don't know, do a lot of things different. It just doesn't work for this game. It just does. It doesn't work anymore, right? Period. I just don't. But you keep adding more and more stuff, and you want to keep the same lazy ass fucking systems that you've had in place for 20 plus years. I just did.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't want to do it
If
anymore. It makes me not want to play your game.
if this was any other developer, if this was CD Projekt Red, I would feel extremely confident that that would be patched and taken
Yeah.
out. But
Yeah, I mean that's my whole thing. I keep thinking like, well, maybe they'll figure out a way to
maybe
fix
they'll
it.
fix the game later. But it's Bethesda.
They won't. They'll just be
Granted,
like, well, maybe some modders will take care of that for us.
that's the only thing you can wait on. Granted, from what I've heard, they've turned Fallout 76 into an actual video game that people enjoy playing. So maybe there's hope for,
But
I
maybe
don't know.
I mean, but Fallout 76 was a notorious dumpster fire, and this is it's okay. It's good.
It's okay.
I
It's
mean,
fine.
good's a little strong. It's fine.
It's
Yeah.
fine. Um, you're right. In the interest of that, I will say something like nice about Starfield that actually like wowed me a little bit. When I got to So after the tutorial, which is honestly sped through so freaking fast, one more shitty thing. This game does not tutorialize shit. I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to change my ship. I had to learn all that painstaking. It's awkward. Teach me
Yeah,
how to do the things.
so yeah, like, and I understand that again. That's how previous games from Bethesda have worked. It's kind of like a hey, here you are in this big beautiful world. Just go figure it out and have fun, do your thing. This game is technically like twice, three times as big as all those games with a lot more systems in place.
Doesn't feel like
You
that though.
can't do that. No, it doesn't at all, right? It really
But
doesn't.
I know
But I
that it
guess
is
it's not, but it technically is, right? Yeah, I
by a
really
numbers
need you to
margin.
hold my hand at least a little bit,
Yeah.
or a lot of
Walk
bit.
me through a quest line that forces me to upgrade my ship, forces me to build a
Yeah.
base.
Yes, please. Instead of just having the robot just says, "Hey, you can build a base." It's
Yeah,
like,
by the way, if you want to,
okay, yeah. It's like, well, first of all, this just like isn't
feels like
like this
Minecraft.
isn't a good like immersive experience for me. I want to have a reason to build that first base, right? I want to have a reason why I have the ability to build that first base, or fix your ship, which is also just the worst goddamn fucking menu ever. Too.
Yeah. Oh my
That
God, trying to rotate this. I see
Ah,
things of people building these crazy frigates, and I'm just like, how did you not want to throw your computer through the wall trying to rotate all those pieces and this? I tried it for 5 seconds and I was like, this feels like shit.
yeah,
I don't want
because
to build in this
yeah,
menu.
yeah, it's really
Yeah, why
bad.
can't you have like your team? So it's really cool that you can add people to your ship. And
Yeah,
I added like, and pretty
that is
early
cool.
on, I have like 4 people on my ship right now.
Right.
Why isn't there like, oh, we need to get the F out of here and go find a planet to settle on to have our super
Yeah,
secret base? Because this is compromised.
yeah, it's
You know,
something, right?
jackboots are coming in and tearing up Constellation, so we got to run. Then you go build a freaking base where all these people hang out, and boom, you got like a
Yeah.
landing pad and all that shit.
Yeah, it's so, and there's also just like no real story to speak of so far. It's like
That's what I was gonna get to, but
I don't know how that evolves out. Yeah, I would really actually like a little bit of confrontation and maybe a little bit more of a reason why I may be I don't know, forced or inclined to join Constellation,
yeah,
Um
I
I
felt like
I also
so.
would like maybe more enemy diversity there. I mean, we're dealing with alien planets and there's like alien creatures. You could just throw some big aggressive alien monsters at me. More
Don't
aggressive
you want to
alien
fight
monsters.
500 pirates?
Yeah, totally.
Um, so the positive that I was gonna say before I went off on my angry tangent again,
Oh,
um,
there's a lot of those.
getting to the main planet, the United Colonies planet.
Right.
Um, I so while I felt like this city could have been presented a little better, um, that whole introduction to Constellation and then introduction to the Vanguard sent me on a really interesting like 2 hour thing where I went and talked to the Vanguard recruiter and it was this whole like military spiel of join
Yeah.
us, do this, do that. And I was like, sure, whatever. My character is a space pirate, but she needs work. Let's go.
Yeah, that's why I kind of I was like, well, let me see what factions exist in this game, and I'll come back to this. But I haven't found
But I
any other
really just
ones.
wanted something
So
to sink my teeth into. So I was
yeah,
like, let's go. Then I went, and downstairs and did the whole
which
tour
is
of the Vanguard Museum, where they show the
yeah.
history of space colonization, the wars, and it's set up like a really cool museum. And you go and you press the button, and it lights up, and it gives you this presentation. I thought it was an excellent way to do lore exposition.
Right.
I was totally into it. Maybe not everybody else would be, but I was into it. I liked the way it was delivered. I was interested. I thought it was well written. And then by the end of this whole introductory section, I had kind of a vested interest in what was going on with these different colonies and factions. And then I went off and did a mission that was really cool. You go to this planet on your first UC Vanguard mission, and you find, because there's been a distress beacon go out from a research facility. You go there, and there's one lady left, and the whole place is being overrun by a giant terramorph. And like, you immediately go into like a freaking alien uh, sci-fi horror thing, and it was so cool.
That is cool, right? It needs more of that, right? I do feel like another gripe. If you notice that a lot of the game kind of feels like disjointed, like sometimes I feel like I'll find somebody and they'll start talking to me like I'm missed the introduction to the quest that I'm now taking a part in. Um,
Yes, definitely.
yeah, like it's happened a couple times in the game where it's just I'm like, did I miss something here? Like why are you talking to me like you know me, you know?
Yeah.
And I agreed to do something for you already. I can't really explain it. It just it feels like there's some disconnect, or really the compartmentalization of Bethesda and maybe just game making has royally screwed some parts of this game.
I think it's just I think it's a lag in changing with the times. And a lot of
Yeah,
people have
maybe so.
been
Yeah,
entertaining that idea, is that, Bethesda has made a really impressive spanning, you know, lots of systems working together thing, but it
yeah.
the
The
edges
whole
are so
thing.
visible.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing is just kind of archaic. It's like
Yeah.
this game. If this game would have came out instead of like Fallout 4, I would have been like, wow, this is it. We are in the
Right. Oh,
future.
totally.
This is gaming. This is what it's gonna be like for the next 10 years. And but now I'm like, this feels like it should have come out 10 years ago.
I I definitely agree with you on that. I mean, there's obvious upgrades, it looks great. The attention to
Right.
detail is fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, and there are some systems at play here that are just really advanced and crazy. Like, I was
Kudos to
really,
art design too.
yeah,
Like a lot of things just look awesome, right?
yeah,
I love the guns and all the different suits and stuff.
right. And it feels better to play. Although,
That is a lot of it. Like the game does feel good.
yeah, boost pack
I
gunning and all this stuff. And like I said, zero G is fantastic. But I feel like it maybe needed a little more of that modern FPS touch. Like,
yeah,
you take this and then you take something like Cyberpunk, where your character has slides and, wall, like jumping
lines would
off
have
of
been
people,
dope.
and yeah,
Yeah,
like super jumps or whatever. And maybe you unlock that through the
more
combat
action.
tree. Yeah. But after I'm at 12 hours of running and gunning, y-
Yeah,
and it's okay.
it's
This gun shoots this way and this gun shoots that way and this
yeah.
does this and that. I don't have any magic. I don't have any um, super special skills aside from stealth and
I
what have you,
I
grenades.
I distinctly remember them showing off you having like alien powers.
Mhm. Maybe that comes with the relic
Yeah, I guess so.
searching.
But I've gotten like what, 3 or 4 of those, and it doesn't hasn't even gone into that whatsoever.
I'm 12 hours into the game
Yeah. And
and I
you're still
haven't. And I've
yeah.
been following the story quests pretty closely.
Yeah. So like no. Or they I guess maybe they got rid of it. And hope nobody would notice. Like,
I don't know.
this game it makes it, play
There,
even worse.
there's a lot of people that are very vocal about it ramping up into a totally different experience after 13 hours. But if I'm not enjoying the foundation
Yeah.
enough, I'm not going to enjoy it when crazier stuff is happening.
That's kinda that's I
If the loop is not satisfying to me.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of not a lot of games, but there's a fair amount of games that do that, right? And I don't know. I mean, you have to give me something to make it to that 13-hour moment. But if we're being honest, you should really get me on the hook from the get-go, you know? I should be
Yeah, you
excited to
should
play your game from the
showcase
get-go. Oblivion did that
your
very
game.
well.
Yeah.
Skyrim did not do that.
No.
Fallout 4, does it decently well, right?
Skyrim like attaches a weight to you and is like,
Yeah.
go become the Dragonborn. And you're like, I want to rob people. What is your problem? And
Yeah.
then this one is very
Oblivion
much
was just like, wow, I mean,
da, 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 da.
oh god, we're in
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. Um, yeah, where I
I
am with
missed
it
that.
right, I know where I am with it right now. Yesterday, I was like sitting here going, okay, we're gonna talk about it on the podcast tomorrow. I should go load up Starfield and play some more and try to just get to a
Yeah.
different spot. The thought of doing that felt like work to me.
I'm
It
not gonna.
made
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I have damn near 100%ed Sea of Stars. You got to play that game.
I bought
It's
it last
amazing.
night. I
Yeah.
bought it last night. I literally
I
said,
played it earlier. I was crying. I just want you to know.
"Oh my god,
I did not want to play
that was my next
Starfield. Yeah.
that was my segue into I was thinking about Starfield and going, I really don't want to do that. I don't
Yeah.
want to do that." And then I
I
was like,
don't like. I didn't like. I
I
don't want to play it
I
at
think
all.
I want to play Sea of Stars instead. And I didn't even want to play it on Xbox. I wanted because I wanted it on my Switch. And so
Right.
I went and bought it anyway.
It would be such. It's going to be such a good game on Switch.
And I
Good,
sat
good
down and
purchase.
played it. I am not kidding you. The wave of relief that washed over me as I started playing that game. I was
It's
just
so
like,
fun.
oh,
Yeah.
it I can only describe it as a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, well, it in not just because of Starfield, right? Just because of the type of game that is.
All of it.
Like, if we're gonna just change the episode now and talk about that, it
I I was going to tell you my title for this was going to be Sea of Starfield.
yes. So, fantastic title name. I'd never even. Oh my god. So for one, they did create something kind of magical here because it takes some of the best elements of some of the greatest RPGs of all time, I think, right? Especially
Yeah.
like the combat winds up being like this beautifully crafted uh
Addictive.
yeah, kind of game of rock paper scissors, right? Or
Yeah.
maybe not even like a,
Think Chrono Trigger and Super Mario
yeah.
RPG
It
and
is a lot of Super Mario RPG, Chrono Trigger, uh the Sun game that I can't remember the name of
Golden
right now.
Sun.
Yeah, Golden Sun. A lot
Yeah.
of that, especially with the puzzles.
Well,
Golden
the
Sun has a
Game
lot of
Boy
that freaking
Advanceness
stuff.
is off the charts.
Yeah,
Like it's Game Boy Advance, but as you remember Game Boy Advance in your nostalgia brain
yeah,
of just like
yeah, yeah.
beautiful.
But you know what? Also, it is that some of these games just aren't at times. It is relaxing
Yeah.
and enjoyable. I never had to grind a single time in that game. Uh,
I'm
all
so
the way
glad
through.
you're at the end and I'm like 4 hours in.
Yeah. No, I literally beat it like an hour before
That's good.
we
That's
started
good.
this. Yeah. I
So we
haven't
can
given
give
it
our
everything.
very different impressions of it, or
Yeah.
very, very like different ends of the spectrum impressions.
My starting impression never really changed.
It's been a while since a game caught me that quick off the
Yeah.
get-go, and I was just like, this feels so good to
Yeah.
play. And it's a freaking RPG. It's not complicated. It's not like, The Messenger was their first game, and that is a 2D platformer.
Right.
That has tight controls. That game feels fantastic too. You know, so it just goes to show that their design translates through genre. It's
Yeah.
even in a turn-based RPG, everything feels streamlined in a way
Yeah.
that I could barely explain. I was like, okay, the pacing of this tutorial is fantastic. The dialogue is not lagging. It's giving me exactly what I need. I'm actually invested in these characters. I'm invested
Yeah.
in what's going on in the story. Yeah, it's just
And that's like it's like I think the story as a whole is kind of like it's like mid, but not really bad. It's not. You can tell it was never put on the back burner. It's just maybe like it could be better and no offense to anybody on that team, beautiful game, like a better writer maybe, but
I mean, it's a
it's it's not bad though. There's certain parts that are like okay, like this maybe could have been done little better, and then there's other parts about the game where I literally was like,
crying.
about yeah, I was crying.
Well,
Uh,
very early on, you are hooked into
it's
this
a little bit of emotional ride at parts.
I mean, but like I know I'm not surprised to hear that at all because very like right from the get go, you're hooked into this triangle between these two celestial warriors, whatever
Solstice, yeah,
solstice
yeah,
warriors, and
yeah,
their friend who is not a magical solstice warrior.
yeah.
He's
Gale, yeah.
he's Garl.
Oh yeah, girl, that's
Yeah,
what it is.
he's just a kid, and he loves his friends, and he wants to go on adventures with them, and he gets super hurt, and
Yeah,
it sucks.
it does suck. Yeah,
And it's like that whole thing. I was just instantly just like, oh my god, protect Garl. Do not
yeah.
let
He's
anything happen
he's
to him.
he's the best friend of all time. Yeah,
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, yeah,
Really is. It's just like so immediately. It's like I don't. Even if some of the stuff is ham-fisted, even if it's a little like purposefully emotional. It's it's
it
nice.
hits. It still hits. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
and
just nice.
it is nice. Yeah.
It's just a nice game. I love it.
It and it stays that way, right? Like, and you won't get tired of the combat. Like you'll probably notice that on a whole, fights are a little bit longer than most, but it's not like you're getting into those constant repetitive fights that
No, and it's not just
when it,
attack this,
yeah,
attack that, skill this, skill that. It's like you pretty much have to focus if you want to do well
yeah,
because it's timing based
it
and
is timing,
you
right?
you want to hit those extra damage counters, you want to block those
While
surprise attacks.
yeah, while again being for the most part very fine tuned, like you said.
Mhm.
It feels fair and challenging at the same time, with
Yeah,
just the
very
right
true.
amount. And there are certain skills that are just easier to accomplish than some of the others. Obviously, being like I think once you mastered the moon ring
Mhm.
thing, you can really dish out a lot of damage to every enemy. Yeah, yeah.
Um yeah, I did find the timing based combat a little challenging, kind of the way I always do with these games, like
It
Super
does
Mario
depend,
RPG.
right?
I don't, my brain for some reason is not really good at picking up on the indicators that I got the timing right. And so
There is a so they thought of that, right? And
the,
they put into the game a little thing you could put on to make like a big bright ass star come out whenever and it's not perfect.
I did find that on Reddit last night before bed.
Yeah. Yeah, they literally thought about that, don't worry.
Yeah, which I'm definitely going to equip the second I find it.
Yeah.
I
I
also
forget what
wasn't sure, and I couldn't tell from the tutorials or the menus if you could hit more than one time on an attack. Because I was like, I don't know if it's just the first time or because you follow up and you hit again, and I couldn't tell if that second hit is something you can time, and I don't think it is.
No, no, it's not.
It's just the one.
Yeah, it's just the one. There's just certain attacks that'll let you do more than one. It's
Those are
not
typically
always.
skills and magic, though.
Yeah, those are all skills and magic.
You can
All
even do that.
basically
You can
the all the
timing hit
auto
your
attacks,
yeah, yeah,
except for one exception, which you'll find is all just you hit it once and it'll do like a double attack.
yeah. Okay. You can even do that on your healing spells, which
Yep.
I figured out just out of curiosity. I was like, I wonder.
Yeah.
And the one that got
Uh
me was his nourish, where he pulls food out of his bag, and literally chucks it at people's faces.
Yeah.
Garl, he's just like, eat a tomato.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
you can time that
You
and
make it a
give.
sandwich. Eat a sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, tomato sandwich. And
Yeah.
then it's just, I'm like, okay. So there's always something to pay attention to while doing turn-based combat. I looked up their mission statement for, I need to confirm the name of this company. Um,
Sabotage.
Sabotage Studios. Yeah. Is it
I
Sabotage? Yeah, Sabotage Studio. Their mission is like making games that bring us back to the classics of what we loved growing up, but leaving behind the cumbersome
yeah.
things that we don't
And
like anymore.
they
They do
did
that.
that just like perfectly, right?
Yeah.
The I don't know. I really don't even have too many gripes whatsoever because the pacing is kind of perfect, I think. And then
It
yeah, I
really
mean
is.
it felt so rewarding from start to finish to
Mhm.
do everything, and it really just did like um did everything so well, you know. I will say like there's a slight shift towards the very end of the game, right? And I almost would have liked a little bit more of that. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you
Yeah.
know, things happen. You'll know what it is when I'm talking about it. I wish you would do a little bit more of that cuz it just would have been cool. Um We'll talk about it when you get to it, but
And I
you
will.
know, it wasn't
I'm
even it's not even that big of a deal.
yeah. No,
Um,
I'm so down. I mean, it was just such a I'm glad I listened to my gut and was just like, I don't want to play this game. I want to play this game. And then an hour into it, I was like, I'm so happy right now. I feel so much better playing this.
yeah, yeah.
And I think that's
I
shared
couldn't
by
put it
quite a
down.
there
I
seems to be
could
two
not put it down.
schools in September. It's the Starfield school and the Sea of Stars school, and everybody has like Sea of Stars is one of the best games
Well,
of the year.
here's the
Play it.
thing: the Starfield uh, uh, group didn't play Sea of Stars, and that's why
No,
they're in the Starfield group.
no, not at all.
Even though these are two wildly different games, one is just yeah, like
They are. They could
serene,
not
I
be
guess.
more different.
Yeah, and a good trip, good characters, right? And it's
Yeah,
like a little like almost now, like looking back, even what I said about the story, I think it's more like charming than anything. And the different characters,
that's for
they could be
sure.
like a little like quirky in a playful sort of way.
Yeah, yeah. I just, playing for 3 or 4 hours or however long I played last night. I went to bed late because of this game.
Yeah.
Um, I just didn't encounter anything that was bothersome.
No.
I didn't ever have a point where it was just like, okay, get past this, get past this. It's like, no, the
No.
environmental puzzles are nice, the combat's nice.
And
The
again,
fact
they're
that there's
like
no battle screen, it just pops. Everything is so quick and fresh.
yeah. It yeah, the puzzles too. It's just like they're not super intricate,
No.
but you know, they're exactly what they need to be, I
Yeah,
think,
exactly.
right?
Yeah. It's
Uh,
it's a top-down RPG, and oh my god, it's freaking gorgeous. This is
yeah, it
such
is.
a beautiful game.
It really is, right? There's even like one oh my god. There's that like there's one point in the game where it kind of like temporarily shifts to like a full like 3D environment. It's like one of the coolest freaking things ever.
What?
Actually, you're gonna effing love it.
Oh
Keep
my
playing the
god.
game.
Well, that's what they did with The Messenger.
Did they? I mean, I guess maybe that's their thing, and I was just
Well,
like,
no,
I didn't expect it. I was just like, wait,
the
that was
big
cool.
the big crazy thing about The Messenger was that it it's the way it starts off, it introduces you like this is just
Eh,
like an 8-bit platformer for the future, and it's great. It's so tight and it's nice, and this reminds you of the NES. And then boom, it switches into 16-bit when you travel to the future, and like because your character goes in and out between the past and the future, and so when
Oh
you're in
yeah,
the
okay.
past, it's 8-bit. When you're in the future, it's 16-bit. So you got like that NES and then SNES era
Right.
all
Yeah,
in one
yeah, yeah.
game, and yeah, it's cool.
That is cool.
I'm
Yeah, I guess
definitely
that's
going
their
back to
thing,
play the Messenger
right?
after this.
Yeah, me too. I mean, apparently, I think like the universe as a whole is supposed to be like the same
Connected.
thing, and
Mhm.
that's I think they what they want to do with all their games or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I'll yeah. I'll
yeah,
put
I definitely got to
spoiler
play it.
warnings before this. I'll clip in a spoiler warning thing just in case people don't wanna know about. I'll timestamp when we can go to if you don't want spoilers for Sea of Stars and The Messenger, so that'll be up.
Yeah, well, I definitely tried to not.
No, I know,
I'm not. Yeah, I'm
if
not going to tell you the context of
people
anything, right?
don't wanna know about any
Well, I can spoil
story.
the fuck out of this for you.
I mean, yeah, I mentioned story beats and, you know, it's very early on, but
Okay,
you never know, you never know.
that is true.
Um,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, it was
I
great.
we're
It was
we're
great.
right
I'm
on the
so
same
glad you
level.
played it. Yeah,
We're right
I'm
on the same level.
so glad you played it. 'Cause
You
I've
woke up
played
you
us.
woke up today going, "I'm gonna come in there, and she's gonna be like, 'You don't know what you're talking about. Starfield is amazing, and here's all the reasons why you're wrong.'" And then you're like, "Oh."
Yeah. Wow, boy, have I got some things to tell you.
All right, I think that wraps a nice little bow on it.
Hey,
I
when you start profusely crying in the game, give me a call.
Oh, I will. "You piece of shit. You should have told me." Um, I think I'm stepping away from Starfield for a while. Um,
Well,
I may return to it
I'm gonna
later.
play it for a little bit to get the recorded footage that we need because I couldn't even be bothered to do that. But
Oh, I did it. Don't worry about it.
oh well, there we go. Thank God. Thank God.
I
I don't want
recorded
to play
last time I
it.
played.
You know,
I don't wanna do
I
it.
know. Like that has never once happened, and we've played like some rough things, in this podcast, and
Yeah,
it's just maybe one of the main issues is like we're coming off of a period that has had a lot of games back to back to back to back, and you know what? A lot of these games have been so good. You really need to play Baldur's Gate 3. Okay,
I know.
Look at me. Look at me.
Look, you and the
Play
rest of the
Baldur's
internet,
Gate 3.
I understand. I'm gonna
Yeah.
play it before the
Yeah,
year is
like
out.
come on, like literally the rest of the internet. That's another thing that makes like a hard comparison. Uh for Starfield.
Oh, yeah.
Um it coming from a game where your choices and your dialogue and your interactions with your different companions are make a huge impact on the game as a whole, right? And the characters have detailed enough character development and kind of like background stories to make me care that they like or don't like me.
Yeah,
Something that is difficult, don't get me wrong, but Baldur's Gate 3 does that very well. Coming to a game like Starfield where I'm like, I don't know these people, right? I hardly care. And it doesn't seem to really matter what option I pick, right? In a dialogue.
yeah.
I feel like I'm like, whatever, whatever. And I'm never like that in any game.
I was skipping so many dialogue options because 'cause I'm like,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
wanna
It's like I don't care about this
move on.
information, and that's not good,
That's poopy.
That is so poopy. Because I'm normally so not like that. I'm just like I need to know. I have to know
Yeah, yeah.
everything. And
Well, and
I like that background
it
information.
also takes a lot for something to spoil an open space travel adventure game for me, and the way to do that is to take out the travel and the
Yeah,
exploration.
I think
That's
that's the whole thing. It's
immediately
like
how it's ruined.
I feel like I'm spending more time in like loading screens and digging through bad UI.
Fumbling
I
through
don't even
menus.
want, yeah, anything to kind of stop me just from running around shooting stuff, um,
Yeah.
flying around in my jetpack.
Well, when you have to travel through multiple menus just to shoot, like, 10 people and then go
And
to the
figure out
next
how
place,
you're gonna, yeah, manage your weight and
it's like,
start throwing stuff away.
would you rather just put me in a linear cutscene based game? FPS? Would you rather just make like a Titanfall 3? Like what do you want?
Yeah. Let's just do that, I guess.
No, because I think Bethesda lives and dies by the way they make the world. And when your world is a series of segmented, disconnected, zones,
Yeah.
everything else about your game starts to show the issues.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
it's time to just I'll probably give it to them. I think they were trying to just do a lot with what is now a very old engine. And that's
yeah,
probably because they started development on this game a very long time ago, and it would have been way too expensive or economically infeasible to swap to something new.
right.
But
And yeah,
here's hoping that that Elder Scrolls 6 is not made from the Havoc engine. I
it
didn't even know that was still a thing, and then I realized, like, wait a minute.
they
Yeah,
just started development on it. They just
yeah.
announced that it's in early development, so I think it actually is in the new engine. But
Hope,
when
yeah. I mean, yeah.
yeah,
Basically, it has to be right. Which it's good because this one just can't. It can't take it anymore. It can't do the things that they clearly are trying to do.
no.
So no.
And it may be unfair for me to say that what would have, solidified this as a really great experience for me is to essentially blend the travel and interaction of No Man's Sky with the quest setup and building of Starfield. But that's what my brain wants. That's
Yeah.
still what my brain. I can't change that. No Man's Sky
Yeah.
doesn't really do it for me because I get bored because I feel lonely. I feel like it's an empty
Yeah.
world where NPCs are just like little text boxes. But I still love the way that game functions.
Right. Well,
And
everybody.
I just want that in
Because
this
that was
game.
kind of like a monumental thing to point where, like, even though the game was like um had it was just extremely hollow, like way more hollow than Starfield ever could be at the start.
Yeah. Yeah.
It had this that tech in there that we were all like, well, like, wow, like
Ha-
I have to see where this goes
yeah.
because um
And it's come in
this
incredibly big way.
alone
Yeah.
was like what I want from any sort of space exploration game ever.
Yeah.
And no, I
Yeah.
don't, I don't think any game has to have like let me take off in the ship and then go into outer space. That is ridiculously cool. Um, but at least let me fly to planets and land on them at will,
There are
right?
better ways to do it.
Yeah,
There are just better, more immersive ways to do it. And and I will say, just for the record, No Man's Sky, and I played it this like I don't know, maybe January or February or something like that. It's come such a long way, and it's I
yeah,
call it a
I
really
know
good
it
game
has.
now.
Yeah,
You can literally just be a bounty hunter in space, and there's like space stations, and you can get frigates, and it's cool. I'm definitely going to return to it. In fact, playing this made me just want to play that again.
it did also have a ridiculously garbage UI though. That just aggravates me.
Oh yeah, like the ship inventory system and stuff. It's gotten a little better, but it's still that system of although playing for like 5 hours, I got a super awesome ship with a ton of space and a frigate and a base and yeah, that game's bringing a lot to the table.
And
That this is not.
a mech and
Yeah.
a land vehicle and
Oh my god, that's the thing I forgot to bring up. Why don't they let you have a freaking planetary rover in this game?
because you have ships and jetpacks. They already said that. That's the reason why.
Go to hell.
Yeah, you
You the
have
fact that
ships.
you
You have
can't
ships
ugh.
and jetpacks.
When I
Well, I
realized
can't. You don't travel or do anything with the fucking ships. So
you don't
the
and
jetpacks are cool, thanks, but they don't give me any forward momentum really.
no.
So
No. No.
you won't want me to have a vehicle because then we'll
There's
realize
nothing
too
to
quickly
drive
that
to.
there's nothing to do there. Come on.
But
Oh,
even that little trek to the base is fucking annoying. I'm just
yeah,
like,
it really is,
here I
right?
go walking, walking, walking,
Especially when I'm
walking.
over encumbered, I do appreciate that it does not slow you down.
No, it just kills you.
Yeah, it just kills you.
It just cuts off your
Yeah.
freaking oxygen supply until you die.
Yeah.
God, Jesus.
I
Can
almost felt
someone
better. Yeah, I don't know.
James Stephanie Sterling they showed a they were talking about that and they were like, you know what encumbered me last night? Helium. I picked up too much fucking helium. It's just like the thing you fill balloons with.
We're talking about the game that borrowed like information from NASA to map out the moon, and they didn't think about that.
Oh, the studio that made bobby pins so heavy in Fallout that someone mailed Todd Howard a box of bobby pins and said, "I need you to weigh these so you can." And he actually they had to go update the weight in Fallout
Yeah.
based on it went from point 0.1 to 0.001 because they had bobby pins too heavy.
Yep. Thank you. I I don't I don't.
I don't have the patience for it right now.
So we're talking about Sea of Stars, right? That just wanted to get rid of like all these cumbersome aspects
Yeah.
of old RPGs that and just keep all the stuff that's great.
Make way for the fun.
Yeah, come on. Again, why is weight the thing that we're deciding to be hyper realistic or unrealistic, but the more immersive uh cumbersome, right?
Pick your battles.
Unintended, I guess. Yeah,
Pick your
of
battles. Save immersion for
space
story
exploration, yeah,
and
and
space
story,
exploration.
and
Um,
then and get rid of the effing weight. I don't even mind the idea of having to offload things on my ship, right? But yeah, it's got to be like
but
resources
make my
that don't
ship,
cost anything.
yeah, like make my ship able to
Mm,
actually store a massive amount of stuff, or make
yeah,
resources not weigh anything. Because holy shit, that's
yeah.
stupid.
Or you can like attach like a resource container
You
that
can,
holds the no, you basically attach like a bunch of just containers
yeah,
onto your ship that do increase the weight of your ship,
I know,
right?
I did that.
That it causes you to put more engines on your ship that lowers your total light speed, right? So
That
you gotta go
sounds
like back and forth
so
quite a bit.
fun.
Yeah,
Oh. No, I
yeah.
attached one storage container. It said, "Oh, your maneuverability has gone down by 17%." And then I exited and it said, "This is not flyable." And I said, "I fucking quit." Just turned off the game.
Yeah, you have to put more engines on there, which, then you're probably not going to have the right weight to actually be able to light travel, which I mean doesn't, why do you even fucking care? But you got to
So you
upgrade
can
your
go fly in the space zone
yeah.
and maybe run into a I did run into a pirate with a cool ship that I disabled and then someone came behind me and blew me up and then when I reloaded that save that unscripted event didn't happen again and I was just like
Yeah, yeah,
cool,
it is
cool, cool.
cool.
Yeah,
I
I really
randomly found some ship in space that like there was no exposition or anybody talking, and I was like, "What's this?" And I think it was in the middle of another battle or something. I honestly have no idea what's going on, but I boarded this ship and I killed everybody inside. I have no clue who they were. I have no clue where the ship came from. I have no idea why they were no longer moving, but I took that ship, so that's cool.
it's a
And
bunch
it
of
was pretty
refugees that you
yeah, it's pretty cool.
assassinated.
Well, the game didn't tell me anything about it, so screw it.
No, they didn't
I
tell you
could tell
anything
it
either.
was a security force. I'm like, okay,
I landed on a international trade station. And I was like, oh, cool. I can offload a bunch of my shit before I go do this mission. And I pop in, and there's just one dude on the ground holding his stomach bleeding to death. And I'm like, okay, so I guess y'all aren't going to buy my stuff. And
yeah.
then he's just like, pirates, pirates took the station. Here's a key. If you get the safe, you can have what's in it. I'm like,
All right, I'm
okay.
leaving because I don't have the I don't have the
Well,
room.
I can't fit anything, but I did it, and that's where I discovered that I could turn off the gravity in the station, and all of
Uh,
the pirates were just like, And I was like,
That's pretty
okay,
cool.
this is fun. But then I got to the end, went all the way back, and he was like, thanks. I'm like, quest completion reward.
Yeah,
I just
something.
take the shitty rifle that I found in a safe that I'm
Yeah,
not going to use, that I'm going to sell to somebody, and it's like, I wish I could have taken some of them. I'm like, all right, bye, dude. I guess I don't
yeah.
need to.
See you later. Yeah,
You're gonna be all right. Like, you've been bleeding for an hour.
yeah. Like
That was it.
I
Nothing
found a
happened.
ship that was like being bombarded by solar waves or something. So it's like the engine kept on cutting on and cutting off, which is super cool because
That
like
is
the
cool.
gravity would like release and then it'll come back on and then release and then it'll come back on.
Oh,
Uh,
that's neat. I like that.
yeah. So and it was like it was cool the way that it was done. But I'm like
Yeah.
kind of going through and then like go through do everything, unlock this area of the ship, and then it just gets to a door that you need like the highest level lock picking to unlock, and that was it. You know,
You couldn't
I,
get through it.
it could get through it, right? There was no really story or anything about it. There's
You couldn't
definitely some
get through it to
background
burn
information
your
there. Yeah,
digipicks.
yeah. And I was just like, well, and not to mention, I mean, the enemies here, the star, if the area itself was like a low level area, right? The
Hmm.
enemies were low level. You
But
have
this thing
some
was a
big, like, cool ass thing going on here with a big ship you put there, and yeah, the only thing that you put at the end of this
was a locked room.
was a locked room.
I mean, you could have searched the entire place painstakingly for a key, but
Maybe I
who's
didn't.
got the
Yeah, I
time?
didn't. Who's got the time? Yeah, maybe
Amidst
there
the
was.
5,000 items that are
Yeah,
littered everywhere.
and there's no indication that there was a key either.
No, no, they don't say
My
like,
companion could say like, "Huh,
yeah, there's not a
well, if
mark on
only
the
there
door
was a
like you don't
key."
have the key for this or a
Yeah,
high enough lock picking skill.
yeah. So I couldn't tell you
Yeah.
if there actually is a key for it or not, or if it was just one fairly large ship with a cool like kind of backstory going on to it for a singular locked door with like I don't know some lower level legendary equipment in there.
Yeah, like at least give me a cool story, like
Yeah.
a bunch
Well,
of
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
cultists
like
that died
it,
eating
it,
potatoes or
yeah.
something.
I don't know. Give me like something, or like what I'm saying. Like, what's the point of that though? Like, why put in that much work into this one thing just for have it like, I don't know, a cave? I mean, I
It's
guess that's
called content, Matt.
yeah.
God.
And they could grow it, right? They could grow that little thing into so much more content. Let me find the crew that apparently evacuated, whatever. I don't know. Do something. There
I
was
don't know.
a.
I don't know if you heard. We have 1,000 planets. We don't have time for all that.
You're right. Let me go
1,000
to the
planets.
next planet that has a yeah, a base that basically does the same thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
you're gonna pick up 30 Grendels until your inventory is full. All
Yeah. Oh, I
right.
also really last thing.
Yeah, here we go.
Why are you still showing me these arbitrary values for uh how much something is worth? Because that is never how much it's actually worth.
Oh, you mean like a rifle
Well, it
valued
would
at
technically be worth
5,300
yeah,
credits, and then you get
and
it, and it's
it's
like 120 credits?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Why? Like literally why? Like I guess that's the maximum value if you have some sort of skill that
Yeah,
increases
like,
your
basically. I don't think
yeah.
you're ever
Well
gonna get
then
that.
show me that price when I have all that stuff to sell it for that price. Yeah, I don't need you to give me the possible maximum value of this item.
It's called a carrot on a stick, and it's an incentive, and it's a really common tool in capitalism.
It's
And what is space
stupid. Yeah.
without American capitalism?
You're right. Let's bloat those numbers up, but
This is rookie numbers. You gotta get
or
those
just
out.
sell it for that much and have
You
things.
better haggle until that rifle is worth $5,300, or you are not welcome on this space stock exchange.
Ah,
All right. Well, we have fired ourselves up enough. That is Starfield. That is Sea of Stars. one of those games is really, really, itching to scratch. One is not.
Yeah.
You decide for yourself.
I'll tell you
Thanks
what,
for.
though, they both have star in their name.
Oh shit! I
Yeah,
think I can
right?
do something with the title.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that. I was just going to call it games
Games.
discussion.
Yes, that'll really hook them into listening to the episode
I
or
thought so
watching it.
too.
Yeah.
I thought so. But that's why we have two people here for the ideas. Anyway, thanks everybody. Love ya. Please like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Look at our TikTok. Send us questions to thenerdinggrounds@gmail.com. Tell your friends, I already said that. And most importantly, be nice to each other and have yourselves a lovely week/weekend.
All those things Quinn just said. Bye.
Bye.